Hi, my name is Raina and I am a professional mermaid from Canada. I have been on YouTube for a really long time, but just a few years ago, I went shorts viral and it completely changed my experience on YouTube. So I've made this video to share what happened, the different pros and cons and problems that I faced, and some of the solutions and tips I've learned. I also want to dispel some myths about analytics and sort of the behind the scenes of YouTube that I've actually officially learned from YouTube staff themselves in person and online through various workshops. Before I get started, I just want to give the disclaimer that I am going to touch on aspects of my niche content. However, I do believe that a lot of this content is going to be relatable to any YouTuber. So if this is something you're experiencing, maybe my video will help you. I'm first going to give you a little bit of my YouTube background. If that's not something that interests you, you can use the table of contents below in the description to just jump ahead till we get into the meat of the content. I joined YouTube very shortly after it first launched with a different channel called Nothing to Sing. I was a high school graduate just starting university and I played guitar and wrote music. I used a really crappy point and shoot camera and would just record my songs to send to my friends and family and record covers to just network with other musicians online. I didn't really think much of it. I wasn't taking a YouTuber approach and my gear was not very good. In fact, I look back on those videos and it's kind of cringe. I started getting into creating a mermaid business for myself, but back then there was nothing out there for how to learn how to do it. There were very few people doing it in the world, even as a hobby, let alone a job, and there was not a lot on YouTube. So I posted a few early embarrassing videos on that channel. I would use a CyberShot Sony point and shoot that could do underwater, and it would die after a year. And every year I would have to replace the camera. GoPros weren't even out yet. And then when they did come out, they needed underwater housings and they were really expensive and hard to obtain in my country. So I didn't even get a chance to start using GoPros for quite a while. I did this for a little bit and played around learning how to use Movie Maker on Microsoft Windows. But then some different life changes happened and I ended up starting a legitimate business as a professional mermaid. In this business, I would do children's parties, events, teach lessons, do hospital visits, meet and greets, all kind of really cool things. I have a background in child development and in education. At that time, I was actually going through university and learning all of those skills. So I would use this part-time business on the side as a way to do some of my projects that I had to do in school and to test out some of my new skills. It occurred to me that there was a very small mermaid community online and that YouTube would be a really cool way to connect with some of those folks. There really wasn't much online, and the content that were typically these 3 women who had started doing this as a job and were traveling the world and had really, really high quality underwater content. They would get millions of views, and it certainly was not something I could compete with. I lived in East Coast Canada, had a crappy CyberShot camera, and I couldn't get great underwater footage in the location of where I lived that would only get warm enough to get outside underwater in summer. So I decided to use my channel as a way to teach people how I was making this into my job, how I was applying my education, do vlog styles, and just show off everything and all the cool stuff I was doing. So I started this channel. My early videos actually did surprisingly well, even though they had no quality, no proper packaging, and weren't even high resolution. I would take this Sony CyberShot camera to gigs, and I would get permission from the parents and film a party. One of my party videos has something like 300,000 views, and it's just shaky cam. So I had a little bit of that success. I would have a few videos that did really, really well like that. But then I fell into a nice pace where I was making vlogs called So You Want to Be a Mermaid, talking about all the different unique things in my niche. And those videos, some of them did really well about a decade ago early on, and others would settle around a couple thousand views. And I was okay with that. It was very niche content. I was not playing the YouTube game. I didn't really know a lot about thumbnails, about setting up proper tags, SEO, anything like that. I wasn't thinking about this as a YouTuber. I was thinking about it as a mermaid. I was thinking, I want to send these videos to potential clients and they can see the kind of work that I can do. They can see the cool underwater stuff, and I can also use it to learn and network with other mermaid professionals. So that was where things were going. A few more years into things, I'd say a bit closer to the pandemic, I started to really get the hang of editing, and then my husband came on board and we upgraded our editing from these free programs and got into Vegas Pro, and we started learning more. We got some music subscriptions so that we could have music, and I got monetized, which was really cool. And the cool thing about getting monetized on YouTube, if you're someone who takes a really long time to get monetized like I did, they actually back pay you for all of those views and ad revenue. So I got this great big lump sum on my first YouTube paycheck, and I was able to put it through my business and claim certain exemptions because my country had a partnership with America. So there were certain things that didn't apply to us. So between that and running the income through my business, I didn't lose as much income through taxes and fees as an average person might. So it was very incentive. It was a good incentive for me to want to improve things. Plus, more mermaids were coming on the scene. This was becoming a bigger industry, so I really wanted to compete with the content that was out there, try to make my stuff good. I ended up publishing some books, and those went along with my YouTube, and it was just really great. But still, I didn't really think that I was a YouTuber. I wasn't really thinking with YouTube strategies. I was still thinking in terms of mermaids. What do mermaids want from my videos? What does my niche audience want? I wasn't thinking about things like marketing. I would try to sell my books, and they did do well, but I wasn't thinking of things like merchandise and t-shirts or anything. I just wanted to foster my own community. And it was niche, so it's not like loads of people were going to like it anyway. Fast forward to the pandemic, everyone's online a bit more. I had this experience where I was dealing with infertility, and then I shockingly became a mom naturally. And I documented a bit of that on my YouTube, and it seemed to really resonate with people. There was this really nice peak during the pandemic where YouTube was getting more views than usual. My content was really starting to grow, and I had already had a lot of really great validating experiences in my mermaid career. I'd gotten to work in actual movies and music videos. I have IMDb credits. I was even quoted on the Stephen Colbert Show. I'd won some awards, but none of that was necessarily translating to YouTube success because I didn't really know what I was doing with YouTube. I would just use YouTube as an extension of what I was already doing, and I didn't, quite honestly, have time to delve into it. I'm the kind of person that I've had a few moments in life where success has happened long into the hustle, and I've not been prepared for it because I didn't believe it would happen. So when I started to go viral on YouTube, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. What happened was YouTube launched Shorts, and my short form content previous to that, it always did kind of okay. It would go on TikTok, but I wasn't super invested in TikTok. They didn't pay Canadians, and the app came out right when I became a mother, so it was a bit too overwhelming to try to learn a new app. And at the time, the audio would blast at you when you opened it, and I really didn't like that. And my Reels would do well on Instagram. They launched Reels the way that we know them today during the pandemic, and mine took off. They did really well. It was no problem for me to get thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands views, but my pictures would still do well too. And I do a lot of photography, so I really liked that. And as we all know, the Instagram world has completely changed, and it's really hard to get your stuff seen on there now. Not only that, they also don't pay Canadians, so that was a bit frustrating too. So I would just kind of throw a few B-roll things and a few edited reels up on YouTube, not really thinking a lot about it, more so thinking, yeah, I mean, I'll just have this on YouTube because I've had YouTube for so long. I might as well keep it all together. Again, not thinking of it. And then that was when Shorts first happened. But then there was this wave where shorts became available in India. And up until that point, TikTok had been banned in India. So if you put a tag of TikTok on your shorts, the India folks would find it because they were searching for TikTok content. And I would just take my TikTok videos and put them on YouTube with the hashtag TikTok. I didn't know what to do. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And these were the early days of shorts. And some of those would do well and it would be really encouraging. And I'd be like, wow, you know, my subscribers are going up. So up until this point, I had not made very much money at YouTube. I had that first big chunk of back pay, and then I would maybe get a couple $100s a year. Like, I did not make money. And I wasn't really doing anything with merch beyond trying to sell some books, but eventually my books were too old. I didn't want to keep promoting them because the content was too old. So I'm just kind of using YouTube passively again as this extension of my business and this way to connect to people. Here is where things start to get crazy. At the end of 2022, I posted a video of my 1-year-old and I. And it was just a simple reel of us on the beach in our costumes. And I think I posted like 20 of them that day because I didn't understand what I was doing. I just threw them up because I wanted them to have a place to live on the internet for sure. And it was up for about a month. Then it started to go viral. And I started to see absolutely bonkers numbers. I had gone viral before, but it was always viral through like a newsletter, or like the New York Times did something and the New York Post did something and CNN did something and the BBC, and they were always like videos that they owned, and that video content and those articles would go viral, but it never translated really to a lot of income for me, even though I would license the content, and it never translated to YouTube growth. And this video just took off and started to get millions of views. And at that point, I only had 14,000 subscribers. So my subscribers were people who had followed me for a decade. They were really invested in who I was, in our little niche community. They felt like family, and I could put up a video and it might get 5,000 or 6,000 views, maybe if I was lucky, 10,000 views, but it would get 50 comments and it would be people that I was really connected with. And I really enjoyed that. Then all of a sudden I'm waking up and it's like, okay, I'm lucky to go up 100 subscribers a year and I'm up 1,000 in a day. That's weird. Oh, I'm up 2,000 in a day. I'm up 5,000 in a day. I'm up 10,000 in a day. What is happening? So this video goes viral in like September, October, about a month after I posted it. By January, I have gone from 14,000 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers over. And the video is at like 85 million views. And all the shorts that I'm putting up at this point are getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and some of them are edging up into the double-digit million views. So like 10 million views, 20 million views, that kind of thing. I am absolutely beside myself, bonkers, like what is happening? And I get the Silver Play Button award. But what I'm seeing as all this growth is happening is a lot of non-English comments, like hundreds of them on all of my videos that I have to use a translator to understand. And I would literally sit at my computer and copy these comments into a translator so that I could figure out what ones I should moderate. And thankfully, YouTube started auto translating the comments. You could press a button to see the translation and it would give you like its best guess. So thank goodness they did that. But I would have all this non-English stuff. And then I would look at my demographics in my analytics, and I had gone from like the majority of my views were United States, Canada, UK, Australia. Now the majority of my views are India, Bangladesh, all these different places in the Middle East, Russia, places I've never heard of. And I thought, is this just bots? Because we often know that bots are coming from India, that there's like bot farms, click farms, that kind of thing. I had encountered that in the past. But no, I'm actually getting genuine comments from these people and questions and a bit of religious fear from some demographics. So it actually is, it is real people. And just as an aside, what's really wild is later on in my career, when this just became a juggernaut, Indian immigrants moved to the place where I live and actually saw me at events and came to me and they said, "We know you from YouTube. We watch your YouTube videos." So that is bonkers to me that I have people from India who know who I am because of this. And I think two things were happening at this point. One, it's that shorts were so new for them. They didn't have access to TikTok, and now all of a sudden they have shorts content. Phone and the internet is much more affordable than it used to be and more accessible. So the views are just going up. The other thing is that mermaids were kind of a novelty. Like nobody was doing that over there. So in countries where people weren't seeing professional mermaids or being exposed to that content, it was really, really like growing and blowing up. And then there's also in some of these demographics, not necessarily India, but some of the other places, there were people drawn to the niche because they'd literally never seen anything like this before. They're getting onto the internet for the first time ever. And even though they're grown adults, they're from poor places that are just getting to access this stuff, never seen it before. And they legitimately are like, is she real? Is this real? Like, where is this in the world? Is this happening? So that is kind of why this happened. But it just kept growing and growing and growing, and it wouldn't stop. So those first few months, I went from 14,000 subscribers to over 100,000 subscribers. By the next year, I'd hit 500,000 subscribers, and by the year after that, I hit 700,000 subscribers. So I'm now sitting at around 700,400 or 746,000 subscribers, give or take. And my top 9 shorts are absolutely mind-boggling. I think the top one is like 125 million, and there's other that are like 85 million, and one's getting close to 100 million. Lots of shorts in the millions, lots of shorts in the hundreds of thousands, and lots of shorts in the thousands. So my problem with all of this instant success is it did drive up my income from YouTube, which was great because I was used to getting nothing and I wasn't super invested in it. So I have this motivator now of more income coming in, but I literally have no idea how to do YouTube, how to make this better, how to improve on it, how to understand my analytics, how to understand what's a better thumbnail, how to even understand trends, because I never took any trends as a thing. That wasn't a thing I did. I literally just made the content that I wanted to make. And I wanted to find some kind of middle ground where I was still making the content I wanted to make without pandering, but also, tapping in on some of these timely events. And a good thing that happened to me is I got a partner manager and I got invited into an official YouTube Discord where I could talk to other shorts creators and other YouTubers. And then I started to get invites into sort of these professional development workshops that YouTube was doing both online and in person. In-person one that happened for me was brilliant. I'm Canadian, and we had the president of YouTube Canada come down, and he had a bunch of experts with him. We did these workshops. I got to network in my very small community with some well-known YouTubers. Nick A30 is from where I live, and he gave a sort of keynote talk about how he did what he's done, and he has taken a real business plan approach to his channel, and I just thought that was fantastic. Even though my content was so different than his, I'm very, very niche. He's doing video games, Fortnite, so many people love that. I'm Mermaid, it's very, very niche. And especially for me, I'm niche within the niche because I'm Canadian and I have all these different limitations. But unfortunately, a few things I did learn is that Canadians do not have the same access to some of the monetizations that other YouTubers do. So for instance, we don't get to do YouTube shopping. I don't get to do the affiliate shopping. Some of the live stream features that have been rolled out, we do not get, the gems and things like that. So it can be tricky for us to still earn income, and we are earning that income in Canadian dollars. And also we just can't sell things that are built in the way that you can. So if I'm using the built-in shop function for like Teespring or something, the price difference is so big that nobody really wants to, from my audience base, buy that. I learned so much from these courses, and I cannot recommend that if you get the opportunity to take them, jump on it. If you're getting emails about these and you're not doing them, you are missing out. I learned so much. I applied so much. I feel like I've learned so many skills as a creator, and I've been able to dispel a lot of myths. So I want to start with a few of those myths. So one thing that people don't understand about YouTube is that YouTube is a pull-based algorithm, where other platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it's push-based. They are pushing what they want in those places. Whereas YouTube is almost like a choose your own adventure. It is pulling to the viewer based on the viewer's habits, based on the viewer's interests, based on what it thinks you might like. And because of this model, you can actually follow a chain of looking at different videos for your different interests, and you will find 10-year-old videos. And in fact, I have 10-year-old videos that are still, they're evergreen. The term evergreen means that people are always interested in it. So because the content is evergreen, it is still coming up and still earning me money, which is mind-blowing to me. So that was sort of one of the first things I learned, is that your content can still get picked up. It can also still go viral long after you think it's topical, and something that starts out slow and not doing well, you can go in and change the packaging of that, change the thumbnail, change up your keywords, and it can get picked up again in the algorithm and get a new burst of new viewers. So I would have videos that would be online for a few years. I took these courses, I went in and repackaged them, did the keywords, the descriptions, gave better thumbnails, all of that, and all of a sudden their views are spiking, and it's becoming topical again because people are looking for what I'm posting. A lot of people just believe that YouTube is going to push what they want, and it doesn't. Another thing that I learned from YouTube is just because a video isn't performing well, you shouldn't just delete it, because you're losing those valuable insights and analytics. And again, it always has the opportunity to grow if you repackage it or strategize it. So people think, oh, I dropped this video, maybe it's just bad timing, I'll pull it up and put it out another day, or put it out a few hours from now, or whatever. You don't have to do that. I know that that works really well on other platforms like TikTok and Instagram, but it's a lot of repeated effort on YouTube. You don't need to do that. You can just wait. And then, you know what, if a video does bomb, that is still really important analytics to keep. So if you're deleting that video, you're losing that bit of analytics that can help you analyze, what can I do better? So private the video or unlist the video, that sort of thing. Being involved in these workshops, I got to do some boot camps, and I got to do a vertical live stream boot camp, where I basically learned how to ask people for money. So I learned how to make great vertical live streams, but I also learned how to get over my awkwardness and motivate my viewers to subscribe to me, to pay for membership fees, to drop me a super like or a super thanks. And for some of us, that's hard. It's not easy to ask for that kind of thing. So that was kind of cool, learning how to do that. I also made a lot of great friendships doing this. So one of the problems that comes out of this is that shorts are valued lower than long form videos. Typically, your long form videos are always going to have a higher dollar amount per 1,000 views. And the negative thing that happened to me when I went short spiral is my subscriber base became very diluted, and the people who were coming to me for my long form, they kind of got lost. These hundreds of thousands of subscribers were not interested in my long forms. They were interested in my shorts, and they didn't even like shorts that were edited or followed a trend or did anything like that. They liked B-roll. If you look at the majority of my viral shorts, they're B-roll. And I would try to do all these creative things, and it would just be wasted effort because nobody would see it and it would never get views. And I was venting to another YouTuber who is now doing super well, like Dr. Nose, like, congratulations to you. He had said to me, like, you should just lean into what's working, like lean into your niche. If that's what they like, then go with it. And he was totally right. But I'm still having this problem where my percentage of the demographic I'm trying to reach is getting lower and lower and lower. It's not only the demographic I want to reach because that's who I connect with. Also, the views that you get on YouTube are valued differently depending on where the people are coming from and whether or not advertisers are willing to pay for that. So one of the problems with India is a lot of the people who are viewing the work aren't going to be spending online with a credit card. So they're not going to be going to my video and seeing something from an ad and buying it online. And YouTube values those views much lower. So 1,000 views from India might get me 1 cent Canadian, which is like negative USD. It might get me 1 cent Canadian, 2 cent Canadian, 3 cent Canadian, that kind of thing. So in that regard, my video that has 125 million views has only made a little bit over $1,000 Canadian. It's probably now been around $1,000 American. That is bonkers. It's hard for me not to take that very negatively. And there's a few things that people have said I should try to do to offset that. Some people say delete the video, but I love that video, and my channel is a bit of a time capsule of everything I've done, so I didn't want to delete it. I could hide it if I want, but the thing is it's my top earning video. It is earning me money. And I've had people say, start a second channel. That is a really common thing that you hear. And they say, just move all your shorts to a second channel. Well, I tried doing that and the exact same thing happened. And I just got all the same type of views and the same amount of money, and there was no way around it. So it's like, okay, I'll just keep everything where it is. Like, I don't want to start over my decade-long channel. Now, you might find it worthwhile to start over your channel if you're early on and you really just want to keep your long-form views kind of pure and focused in your niche audience and not watering it down by having loads of people looking at shorts who aren't going to look at your long form. That's valid, that's fair, but it's like Russian roulette trying to start a second channel in that way. It works, it doesn't. It really, I think, depends on the content, your timing. But for me, international people really just love mermaids. So I don't think there's any way around it for me. So this video would get so much. And what I would see would happen is I stopped hearing from my regular subscribers. They weren't getting my content in their feed, and it wasn't being pulled to their algorithm, and they weren't seeing it unless they logged onto their computer to watch YouTube. If they went onto their computer, went into the subscribers, then they would see in their subscriptions my videos come up. But on mobile, the default view is often suggested videos. So that's going to be based on your algorithm, that pull-based algorithm based on what you look at. You actually have to manually like go in and look at your subscriptions if you want to see your subscriptions, right? So that's a tricky thing too. Also, people need to set a bell if they want to get a notification or get an email. That's also tricky too. So I've got, it's like 14,000 of dedicated fans, and then hundreds of thousands of folks from India and Bangladesh and Russia and whatever, but they still love my content. I have some dedicated fans in there who are leaving comments on everything for years, who are following everything. It's amazing. So I do really appreciate that. And like I said, I met some of them in real life. It was wild. But here are some tips that I have learned to help me shift my content back into these higher paying demographics. And when I say higher paying demographics, I mean that YouTube ads values it as people who are going to spend money, and it's going to be a good return of investment for the advertisers. There's a lot of myths out there and a lot of guessing and a lot of people who are so cocky thinking they know what this is. And a lot of times I see people say things like, well, the financial videos are what are going to do the best. But that's not really true, because if you have a bunch of people from India watching your financial videos, it doesn't matter that you're making a financial video. The rate that you're going to get for 1,000 views is still going to be much lower, because the advertisers aren't going to value those views at the same way. They want to pay for the demographics that they want to see. So in my instance, they want Canadian, American, Australia, UK. Those are the top ones that are going to earn money. My percentage of that used to be the majority of my channel, and it has shrunk, 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 shrunk. I want quality views, not quantity views. I want quality subscribers, not quantity subscribers. So how am I to do that without completely abandoning my channel and starting over again from scratch, which I really personally don't want to do. Some people can do that. This is a time capsule for me. This is my career. I always want to be able to look into this YouTube. And I always want it there for archiving in my industry. I want this to be like a historical thing in my industry. I don't want to start over. You go and look at a video from 2009, 2010, and it is a snapshot, not only the video, but the comments and the things that people are saying in it. It's very reflective of my industry, okay? So here are some tips that I've learned that have helped me get things back into long form, to get my shorts viewers to turn into long form viewers, and to grow the audience that wants to see my long form, and to reconnect with my long form audience, which pays better and is also the people that are going to get me jobs and work with me, okay? Using the link to a video from a short. You set this up. There's a little drop down where you can select another video for it to link to, and that will show up on the videos for the shorts viewers. So sometimes I will link any of my long form videos. They won't necessarily be related to the short, but it's like, hey, this long form is not performing very well. I'm just going to stick it on a few videos on my shorts and see how it does. Other times I'll have a very specific video, like I have a documentary, and I link that to a lot of the videos, and that's almost at 100,000 views now. And I find that that's a really good one for people who are going to become long form viewers, because they're watching this cool short and then it's like, oh, well, here's this documentary. And the people who do click through and follow me because of that tend to be very dedicated followers. And it may be 2 out of every 100 that look at it, but those are 2 really good quality subscribers who are going to interact with my stuff. They're invested regardless of language barriers, like they're in it. Language barriers are another thing. So I will add captions on both my shorts and my long forms that are English. I did do a test with another YouTuber where we went into our videos and we manually set the language to English US or English Canada, and we compared it to shorts and long forms that we didn't do that for, and we just left it off. And we did see an increase in the demographics we were targeting by doing that little trick. We did. In fact, my income went up. Even though my views are about the same, it was like I was converting those subscribers. So my whole goal throughout all of this has been, even if I'm losing subscribers, if my income is going up, then I know that demographic is shifting the way I want it to shift. So I am seeing less growth since using some of those strategies. I'm using that linked video, and often what I'll do is use the shorts as a trailer. I forgot to mention that too. I'll use the short as a trailer, as a hook, to try to get people to watch the long form, and that helps a lot. I also have found that doing live streams, especially short form live streams, because currently in 2025 and 2024, shorts live streams were being pushed out to the entire shorts audience. So when people are just browsing on shorts, they can happen upon your live stream. And oh man, my shorts live streams do so well. They make good money. They get 50,000 views, lots of participation. I earn a lot of new quality subscribers that way. And some people archive them or take them down afterwards. I find it beneficial to keep them up. They keep earning for me. Not everybody finds that, but I like keeping them up. Now, my long form live streams don't do quite as well. It will only go out to your subscribers. So those are nice when you're trying to do a subscriber only perk. You can also set the shorts live stream so that it is subscriber only or membership only, but I really do find it helps me grow my audience. And I will do them at a time that's not good for like India. Like, let's do it at a time that's good for America. And even me being in the area that I live in Canada, I am 4 hours ahead of California. So sometimes I'm doing a video and I think it's a good time of day and it's like 8 or 9 a.m. for them. So it's not a good time of day. So you kind of have to get with live streams, get an idea of what is the good time for your target audience. So I'm doing more regular live streams. That's been helping. I've gone in and repackaged old videos. I've re-tagged them. I have changed their language to English. All my old videos now, they're all changed to English, and my upload defaults are set so that the language is set to English. And doing that, I'm making use of the linked videos and doing that. I'm also using comment moderation and trying to enforce English speaking on the channel. So I'm like, hi, this is an English speaking channel. And I will moderate a lot of comments that are not English. And I have seen that has helped as well in terms of growing my English audience. Now, loads of people in India speak English, but for whatever reason, the experience that I'm having, I mean, I think they're actually one of the top speakers of English in the entire world. But one of the problems I am having is those aren't the people who are looking at my videos. The people who are looking at my videos don't speak English, and they're leaving lots. I have learned how to say mermaid in so many languages at this point. I get views from Japan, like I get views from everywhere. It's crazy. I do like that I am sort of internationally known on YouTube, but it can make it very difficult to connect with your audience because you want the content to be relatable, you know? And I am now middle-aged, and I have been doing this since I was really young, and my experience of the world is changing. My experience of what I do as a mermaid is changing, and what I have to offer is changing. So I've been in this really weird growth phase where I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, what is my niche now? Because I know it's mermaid, but it's got to be more than mermaid. And for me, I'm trying to really lean into the Canadian aspect of things so that people are seeing that unique perspective, because it is still somewhat new in Canada, and we do face different barriers. So I feel like if you really want to reconnect with your audience, you want to grow a specific demographic, you want to try to flip these numbers like I'm doing, then that's another thing that you want to do. You really want to lean hard into your niche. And I really make use of the community tab. I actually sit down one day a month and I just schedule an entire month's worth of posts, and I get a lot of interaction on that. It's also English. I ask a lot of questions. I put really nice pictures from my archive of pictures. And even though people don't subscribe to me, I am seeing those go out to new people. So it's not always just your subscriber. It does seem like it's coming up in the algorithm when people are browsing different topics. So if they're browsing mermaid, my pictures are going to come up. So I'm actually seeing new subscribers from that as well. Just the usual things of like embedding your YouTube and all of your socials and your website and things like that. I also will ask my friends if I put out a video and it's been 48 hours and I see the demographics are not going the way I want. I say, hey, can you do me a favor, play my video, leave a comment or something, because it will help the algorithm pull that to more people in our demographic and see that people in our demographic are interested in it. And my friends will do me a solid like that. Most of the time, the friends in my orbit watch my videos anyway, but not everybody obviously is interested in mermaids. So this is such a unique thing, and I'm learning as I go. And I get frustrated, definitely, because on paper it looks like I am so successful. If you look on Social Blade and you look me up, they think that I'm making like $20,000 a month. And when I was at my peak of views, it thought I was making $1 million a month. Like, God, I wish. The ways that Canadians can make money on YouTube is we get the monetization, and we do get super likes and super thanks, and 50% of that often is taken between Apple fees and YouTube fees. We do get memberships, and it's the same thing. And we do have ways to add in merchandise. But for somebody like me, getting affiliate deals and sponsorship videos is actually very difficult, because they want to look at my subscriber base and know that it's people who are going to buy their products. And it's not. So for a few years, I had a fantastic affiliate deal with the guy who makes my costumes. And I would get a 10% commission anytime people used my code. And even though so many of my viewers were not people who were going to buy these costumes, it was still enough people that I was bringing in $1,000 to $2,000 extra dollars a month. And that, combined with my monetization, actually helped my company stay afloat during COVID, when we couldn't go out and do gigs because of restrictions. And I saw this nice increase in people using my codes. And so I picked up a few other codes along the way. I had some custom goggles that you could get 10% off, and I would get the 10%. You know, I use an Insta360 camera, so I have one of those codes and different things. So at its peak, those did really well for me. Unfortunately, the guy who makes my costumes decided to end his affiliate program because he's facing all kinds of things too, and with the tariffs and everything, and that's fine. He still does sponsor some of my videos though, but instead of paying me, he is giving me free product. And I know people roll their eyes at that, but you have to understand that the mermaid industry, the product we use is so niche. It's extremely expensive. It's long waits to get it. There's a lot of import fees. So if he wants to send me a $2,000 tail in exchange for sponsoring a video and they're covering the fees, I'm great with that. Like, that is a tail that I would not own otherwise, and I'm really happy with that arrangement personally. So I'm not somebody who will sometimes who will be like, oh no, I don't want free merch in exchange for exposure. I can't eat exposure. Like, of course I can't eat and pay bills with exposure, but I'm not a full-time YouTuber. This is extra income for me. So for me, that decision is fine. That may not be a good decision for you, and it may not be a decision I keep going forward, but for where I am in my life right now, it's doing well. I am seeing, like I said, less growth on paper in my channel. My subscribers, I would get thousands a day, hundreds a day. Now I'm getting about 100 a day. And recently, I was off from January, February, and March due to a lot of health stuff, and I ran out of scheduled content, and I just couldn't make anything. So I had a bit of a burnout. I wasn't posting content, and unfortunately, my channel did take a nosedive from that. The income went way down. I stopped gaining subscribers. I started losing subscribers for the first time ever. But as much as it kind of sucks on paper, I'm kind of okay with it because, like I said, I want those good quality subscribers. I'm playing the long game here, and it is a very long game because I've been at this for like 14 years. It's a compromise I'm making because, to me, starting over my channel isn't something I want to do. I tried doing a side channel with specific topics and my shorts and things, and it was just more of the same, and it just became duplicated effort, so I recombined it all again. One thing you can do if you're struggling with low income is that if you go into your advertiser settings, you can choose to allow advertising for gambling and smoking and things like alcohol. YouTube will not show it to kids, and it will not show it in states or provinces where you're not allowed to have advertising. So you don't really have to moderate it. It is only shown to people who can see it. However, you may not want to do that if that goes against your morals and values, if you struggle with addiction yourself, and that's not something that you're cool with. It is just another option I'm letting you know is out there that a lot of people don't know about. For a very long time, I did my YouTube with my Patreon, so people would get early access videos. Now that you can do that through YouTube memberships, that's kind of redundant, and I've also had a lot of other issues with Patreon, so I'm not finding that too great. Also, supplement things with Substack. My goal for me is really just to continue changing that demographic so that I can get some more sponsorship opportunities, some more affiliate opportunities, and I can show these people who want to pay me to do this, yes, look, here is the analytics of what I'm doing. Right now, the amount of money I make on YouTube, it's really varying. Some years, since going viral, it's around anywhere like $40,000 in an entire year, before business taxes, because I do have to pay taxes, and before expenses, because I do put this all through my business. You know, this year is probably going to be a lesser year because I am having such a hard time with sickness and I haven't been putting out as much content. You know, some months are a couple thousand, some months are a couple hundred, some months I'm lucky to make the threshold. It's really all over the map. And the reason I think I'm experiencing that very much all over the map thing is because I am working so hard to try to change those demographics. So for me, I'm using the money and the demographics as sort of my measure of success. So am I going to hit 1 million subscribers? Probably in the next year or two I will. Is it going to mean what it means for me, what it might mean for somebody else? Probably not, because it's not going to be 1 million subscribers who are super engaged, who are paying my bills, who are part of my community. I basically look at it like I can't count that as my end result. I just have to focus on the audience that is still wanting to be connected with me. Now, for some people, this is just going to be way too much. You're trying to do YouTube as your full-time job. This is still a pipe dream for me. I was never expecting this success from going shorts viral. And I still love it. I still enjoy it because at the heart of why I am doing YouTube is to share the joy of mermaiding with everybody. And I'm now entering a different season in my life where I'm about to be 40, and my background is actually in research in play and how play adds years to adults' life, whether that's playing games, playing sports, using your imagination, being creative. The root of play just does so many good things for us, and I want adults to keep playing, whether it's cosplay or whatever. So I really want to empower people to be in the mermaid industry or be in the mermaid community recreationally, and I just think that there is so much opportunity there for growth. So I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep leaning into my niche. Anything I get is extra, but I hope that some of this is helping you, and I just have to say that I found it so beneficial to work alongside YouTube. So if you get those opportunities, go to them. Go to creator collectives. Talk to other YouTubers. Don't be afraid of other YouTubers. The folks in the Discord give me so many great pieces of advice. The only thing I will caution you is the Reddits. The Reddits are not official. There is so much bad advice on the Reddits. There are so many people who are out there and just wrong. One of the things I do on YouTube is I have a company that pays me to use their music, and they split the music revenue sharing with me. And there's a lot of theories about how that works, and people are wrong about that all the time. But unfortunately, YouTube did just cut back what they're paying the music companies, which means our income dropped from that. So I can't even tell you if that's a good, viable thing that you can do either, but it is something that is out there as another way. When you are thinking about your YouTube and your income, you have to think of multiple income streams. You cannot just focus on monetization. It's just like running a business. The more income streams you have, the better, because if one starts to dry up for a dry season, the others are gonna maybe start to swell and do better, and it's ebb and flow. It's ebb and flow. So the more income streams you have, the better. I hope you found this helpful, and hey, if you're checking out my video because you're not into mermaids and you're more into business or running your YouTube, things like that, I hope you will consider subscribing and sticking around, because my long form videos, that is what I do. And I always try to make the business advice that I'm giving, the solutions I'm giving, comparable so that people can apply them everywhere else, not just this niche that is mermaids. But also, I put out some fun mermaid videos. It's really relaxing and fun, and a lot of my content is safe for kids. Just make sure you're checking it first, and you don't want to ruin the mystery of mermaids for them, that I'm actually putting on a costume. But thank you so much for watching this, and I really appreciate if you like and subscribe. Leave your comments below. If you are dealing with similar issues with your demographics, or going shorts viral, or trying to increase your income, and maybe your income doesn't line up with the amount of views you're getting, leave me comments below. I'll share some of the resources I found. I'll try to answer questions if I don't know them. I will try to point you in the right direction, but I really just want to connect with more folks this way. So best fishes, and thank you.